All right, pot of gold. The wait is finally over. The dog days of summer. We've made it through. Mike, you're giving me a look already. I hate when that happens.
No, Grant did that look, and so I was like just doing it back to him. Yeah, I think he
It
was doing
is.
something like, "Whoa, Brett's a little bit clearer and louder now."
Oh, he doesn't sound terrible anymore.
Yeah,
Weird.
Grant, before Grant starts talking, everybody, just so everyone knows, Grant was, criticizing the sound quality coming out of Brett's microphone and as well as mine, before he started talking. So we'll get to Grant later in the show, but
It does sound like shit right now.
we could just expedite that process now, and that's essentially what he's doing. But he's reporting live from Paris, and he's enjoying his vacation.
Porta de Arte Paris.
Watching the game in the Coliseum, I heard. Heading down to Rome.
No, it's boots on the ground.
Catching a flight from Rome to Orlando.
Obviously, who wouldn't? There's direct flights all day from those two locations. We finally made it, boys. Like we have a game.
Oh my god, dude!
Rather big one.
It feels like last season. It feels like watching LSU destroy Purdue was a lifetime ago.
Yeah, and then at the same time, the same token, it's like, dude, we do this every damn year, where it's like we go through golf season and then we get to a point where that's starting to wrap up and you're like, God, it's the summertime. Before you know it, it's going to be here. And we start our jersey countdown. And then in a blink of an eye, it's just like, yeah, fall camp was like weeks ago. Like, we're here. It's week one. It's crazy how time flies. But I could not be like, I've already, like, today was like a warm up of game day, right? Like, I had the food getting prepped. I've got the Crown and Coke ready for tonight. I'm getting all like the appetizers ready, and it's obviously just me, potentially watching the game. Maybe a couple buddies stop by. I don't know. Is Brett frozen or is he Mitch McConnell? It looks like
Brett's actually frozen.
Brett is actually frozen. I thought this was a Mitch McConnell situation, but he is frozen. So we're going to carry on because this has happened to me several times. And all you have to do is get out and come back in. And that's what Brett is doing right now. So I will carry us forward. But what he was talking about is that it's here, right? And like we are at week one. We don't mess with week 0. And neither does Florida State this season. Last season, Grant, you're not frozen, or you're Mitch McConnell and me. Okay. Just let's cut it out. Cut it out.
Sorry. Too easy.
I'm on an island here. I'm waiting for Brett to
get back. That's why I'm trying to lighten the mood a little bit.
Okay, well, I was in a flow. For a minute there.
You got it.
But anyway, last season, Florida State had a week 0 game, a little bit of prep for LSU. This week, we go in blind, both teams not being battle tested before this enormous challenge. Both very, very similar programs right now, similar teams. Obviously, LSU won the Western Division of the SEC last season. Florida State finished the year very well. They return a very talented quarterback. So does LSU. They return a very talented defensive line. So does LSU. They finished the year very strong. So did LSU. They feel like they have a chance at the playoffs just outside of your typical mumbo jumbo Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, that crew of the world, including obviously Georgia. Right outside of that, LSU and Florida State, their programs and their fan bases, feel pretty similar about the season ahead. So week one, we get to find out exactly that trajectory. Any word from Brett of popping back in? He's still out there on the island. Could be a father situation. So let's let him take care of business. But no, it's a very exciting week. The thing I want to get into, as Brett's trying to hop back in here, the confidence that is oozing out of Tallahassee right now is one I haven't seen before. I haven't seen this level of confidence since Jimbo and Winston and winning a national championship. These guys truly feel as if LSU is just a little bump in the road on their way to an ACC championship and ultimately a playoff berth. Now, where I'm coming from this, And where I feel like the majority of LSU fans, there's very rare you find LSU fans that are thinking LSU is going to come out here and absolutely dominate Florida State. But there is a vast majority of Florida State fans I see all over the message boards, all over Twitter, that are claiming this is going to be a blowout. This is going to be a statement game by Florida State. They're going to shock the world and show that they are here to win a championship this season. And LSU is just a small bump in the road. And that's foolish, in my opinion, to go in thinking that, especially with this new staff that Brian Kelly has put together at year 2, having played LSU last season in the first game, where you go back and look at that game, guys, it's absolutely terrible, right? We have a message in here from our co-host, Brett. He's stuck in the void. Not sure, but we're going to leave that up for everyone to see as they, as we work to get Brett back on board. But we are working on that. Grant, that's your job as the producer.
I mean, I don't know what else we could possibly do.
Well, you have to do the group me messages back and forth. I got to keep this moving. I got to keep this moving.
I'm just trying to figure out
show. Really big show. I'm glad we were able to take care of this. Really big show.
At least it wasn't me this time.
No, it was not. But your sound quality is that's just the icing on the cake. So we appreciate your due diligence on the Wi-Fi and the brand new AirPods. So with that being said, I am very excited about this football game. I do believe this is 2 very evenly matched teams. I think this is going to be a hell of a football game. Obviously, you've been hearing it all week. I know it's only Wednesday, but my God, I feel like it's Friday night, right? I feel like it's, in this case, Saturday night, and preparing for this game. It's going to be tough to stay focused as a fan. I want to stop real quick as we are waiting on Brett. If anyone would like to purchase your own win bar, these are actually, I know this is kind of reversed, but this win bar is actually, he is back, ladies and gentlemen. Brett has made it back in the studio. This is not our butts, Dennis. This is not our butts, but we have those for sale. Grant makes them in his own little Etsy studio. So, hit up the producer
plug,
and he'll sell a lot of those win bars. Okay, so now that we've gotten all of our ads out the way, Brett,
Hello,
welcome
friends.
back. Where have you been?
I've just been sitting in the joining screen. My internet's been perfectly fine. I don't know what happened, but I hopped into YouTube, so I kind of was following along with the show. Are we just firing off the rip? Are we ripping into Florida State now? No effing shot?
Yeah, so no effing shot is the name of this episode. Basically for clicks, like we want people to think that we're in the similar view of Florida State fans, where that's kind of the theme that I've been hearing, is no effing shot. LSU has no effing shot. So we just thought it'd be fun to throw it out there that the title of this episode is Florida State No Effing Shot, which Florida State is a very good shot. This is 2 very evenly matched squads, and it's going to come down to who is the most prepared, who physically is going to last 4 quarters, and what team without a week 0 is going to be the most disciplined and execute what they have been taught all fall camp and all summer. So I'm excited. I think it goes the Tigers' way. I simply think that LSU's offense is going to score points. And, you look at what happened last season against basically this entire defense that's coming back for Florida State for the most part. They do add Brendan Fisk, the transfer from, I think it was Western Michigan, something like that. I don't know. Grant can look that up. But with that being said,
what position?
The
defensive tackle. Yeah,
55. Yeah. Brendan Fisk, I believe, is somewhere up
Western
north.
Michigan. Western Michigan.
Yeah,
he started 24 games over the last 2 years at Western Michigan.
So he's a big dude that LSU really wanted to transfer in. We obviously didn't get him. He is an addition to that pretty big time D line led by Jared Verse. But obviously, I feel like there is not enough outside attention on the value and athletic ability of the LSU offensive line that internally, as LSU fans, we clearly understand. But the hype for the defensive line at Florida State is real. And so with that being said, we still moved the ball on this team last season. We had a complete blowout of our foot with our shotgun. I mean, like, we blew our toes off in this entire game. But we still came within a point, and we still, scored 23 points on this defense. This offense is vastly improved. And the problem here with this argument is Florida State has improved throughout the entire season as well. So it's really going to be a battle of who is more prepared. I truly feel like LSU's offense is going to be that much better this season. And I think our defense does enough with pressure from Harold Perkins really keeping contain on Jordan Travis that forces him to truly throw, and not just in a scramble drill every time it's a good play. They're going to have to put consistent drives in place, and ultimately they will, but not to the extent that LSU will offensively. So that's kind of my overall take on the game, but by no means is this a cakewalk. By no means is this a blowout. I think LSU wins, after a couple field goals on some stalled drives. We get it together. I think it's like a 30-24 type game.
Yeah, obviously
I know we
LSU.
just jumped to like the very end, but
Yeah, that's okay. No, I kind of want to go to the message in the chat from Fearless Leader, because I think it kind of we almost got into this argument right before the pod started, and we decided to save it. So the message in the chat is Florida State fans live in a world where all their transfers are all Americans, and LSU is worse than last September. We kind of got into this discussion before we fired up the podcast, because Grant has some family Florida State. I have buddies who in-laws Florida State, and we're back. We're the best team in the country. And it's like, I feel like I totally understand. Like, they've been pretty shitty for what? Let's just call it a decade. I mean, Jameis Winston, the year after they went to the playoff, and then it's mostly been pretty mediocre. So to like finally feel like you're back in the game and you're going to win the ACC, and you have to, like, it's so easy to buy into this. Like, us as LSU fans, we're buying into Zay Alexander, Deuce Chestnut, Spates, all these, like, we're doing the same thing. LSU's just proven it. LSU won a national title a couple years ago. It's like we've been relevant sooner, but it's like I totally understand where Florida State fans are going to think like, well, I mean, we're back, baby. Call it 1996. Like, we're here.
Well, I've seen several posts that this is nothing, that this is the best team since 2019 LSU. And so that is where their heads are at right now, is that like Burrow, Chase, Jefferson, that type of offense is what Jordan Travis, Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman, Destin Hill, that's what this team is. And that's just foolish, again, to think that big of yourself going into the season, right? Beat up over LSU. The noise, Grant.
Grant, we're getting nose breeze in that. You went manual on the mic. I like that you went analog, but now
it sounds better.
Yeah,
it sounds way clearer. But it's just like a whistle while we work.
No, we can't. Don't say the line. Don't do it.
So anyway, yeah, they're not 2019 LSU. This is a very good football team that I believe is going to make a strong run. I mean, I have them as a top 10 team this year, but the fact that a lot of them are not giving LSU even an ounce of a chance is where it's kind of like, whoa, like, wait a minute, man. Like, this is about to be a ball game. I hope you understand that. And I know their team does, and I know their coaching staff does. But I just thought it was funny to talk about with the fans, and I'm saving the receipts for damn sure. Be a fun Sunday night.
They have every right to talk shit. They won the game last year, as ugly as it was. They can say they fumbled on the half-yard line too, that like made the game, whatever. It doesn't matter now. Like, it's just, I think we're going to see a night and day. We talked right at this podcast a year ago, leading into this Florida State game, how Brian Kelly was a real football coach, and like we weren't going to have all these dumb mistakes. And what we didn't realize is like that team was not a team yet. Like, they needed an extra month. I think if they had an extra month to put their systems in place, we would have seen different. Also, Florida State got that week 0 game, which I think played a huge factor. but it's like it's a different ball game. I know it's like you can just say run it back. Brian Kelly's not the big game coach, but like I'm so much more confident in what we're going to do going into this game. There's so many more knowns. Like we knew Will Campbell was starting at left tackle. We didn't know much about our offensive line. We didn't know if Will Campbell was going to be good. And all of a sudden now he's wearing number 7 with just a patch. It's just like, man, this maybe Brandon Walker's right. Maybe LSU's overrated. Maybe they're a top 15 team. But like if LSU is the number 5 team in the country, if they're the SEC West like predicted champions, they go in and win this game. It's just plain and simple. I know Florida State's going to contend for the ACC. Like prove it to me. Prove like last year you won. Good job. This would be impressive to me. If Florida State wins this game, it's like, okay, I'm done talking shit. Mike Norvell is a good coach. But like last year does nothing for me.
They didn't beat. I'm looking at their schedule from last year, and like they beat us. Like when the season's over, that's the best team they beat. And we just discussed why that game. Yeah, they did. They won fair and square, whatever you want to call it. But like to go and brag about last season, it's just and think that that's the difference maker. It's like you beat Florida by less than a touchdown. You beat Oklahoma by 3 points. You beat Louisville by 4 points.
Like in 15 years.
Like you beat Miami, you blew Miami out, and you blew Syracuse out. Those were the only 2 like real big wins you had, and neither one of those teams were any good last year. So,
and then you lost. That's okay. Take it easy on Syracuse.
But then you lost to Wake, North Carolina State, and Clemson. So you didn't win any big games besides the one against us. And I get it. You can talk shit at that point. But that season does not prove that you're all the sudden. I'm not saying we are, but like take us out of the equation. And let's say it's Florida State versus another, like Penn State or something. Like would they treat this? Would they be talking just as much shit right now going into this game?
Probably, probably.
Like it's crazy, mind-boggling to me. Like I said, being associated with them by family and all, but like I don't know. And you know, we live with our purple glasses on, but we've also been there more relevant more recently. I just feel like we're just more complete. I don't know. It's mind-boggling. I just can't wait. Like we have to get it done.
There's a couple difference makers in this game, and I want to talk about a few of them. First and foremost, I think that LSU fans as a whole, after watching this kid all last season, develop and make some great plays, then not makes that great of plays, and then know what he needs to work on. But Jaden Daniels coming back for this season and being up for the Heisman so high as he is, gaining 10 pounds of muscle, having that full established good year under his belt now in the SEC, now coming in as the captain of the team. I think it's not being talked enough about how big of a difference maker he's going to be in this game. Like he was the only true offense the entire game last year, but like going into it, we are all very cautiously optimistic about how good he can be. If Jaden Daniels goes out against Florida State and just balls out and hits a couple deep bombs, but also runs up and down the field, like the hype for Jaden Daniels is about to skyrocket, like an Anthony Richardson type of hype after week 1. And I feel like maybe we should get out ahead of that and kind of claim it that like good shit's about to happen because of Jaden Daniels, not with Mason Smith being out, not just with Harold Perkins going off, not Will Campbell, Mekhi Wingo, all the, Omar Spates, but Jaden Daniels is going to fucking go off. And we still have him as our dynamic threat at quarterback.
The crazy thing is like, look, there's always going to be a segment of the fan base that wants the backup quarterback. The backup quarterback's better. But I feel like, and look, maybe Jaden Daniels isn't a complete known. In my opinion, like I'm fully confident, but there's a strong part of the fan base that's like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to see him throw the ball downfield. Like he's gonna have to be a lot better, and it's kind of interesting. It almost feels like the national hype around Daniels is almost higher than, like, Tiger droppings isn't necessarily pulse of the nation, but the majority of the fan base. So it's like, yeah, this is going to be a big game. If it's one of those where we have trouble pushing the ball deep and it's like we're just throwing over the middle, doing the same thing. Brian, I think Denbrock mentioned we caught the ball with our back towards the end zone a lot. Like, if it's that, then, like, yeah, I don't know, it just raises a lot of questions. So personally, I think year 2 in the offense, being way more comfortable. I think Jaden Daniels was the most sacked quarterback in the country last year. I will bet you that's not going to be the case this year. Having confidence behind his offensive line, returning all 5 and one of them possibly getting beat out by a freshman. It's like there's a lot to be optimistic about. And I think, you probably see it quick. Like, there's no feeling each other out at this point. It's like, we know what Neighbors is going to do. We're going to throw him the ball.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the Florida State game from last season, it's so crazy to see the body language and just like kind of the lack of confidence from Jaden Daniels, because he was trying so hard to satisfy Kayshon Boutte. Right. It was just a nonstop, like, I'm trying to get you the ball. Trust me. Like, I'm trying to make these. And it was just
drawing up plays, and we're drawing up plays in the dirt. Let's get them on a crossing route to get them the ball.
Right. If not, run. Right. And then, like, it was just kind of like backyard ball, against Florida State. And then each week, little by little, it started to piece together. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play quarterback. Like, I'm done trying to, like, make people happy or win over this locker room. Like, I'm just going to run this offense. And he turned out to be a pretty reliable player. Now, coming into this season, I love what Kelly mentions is that he's always had the physical abilities, right? He's got the arm. He can throw those deep balls. We've seen it happen. We've seen him be a magician in the pocket and scramble for 20 yards a pop. He's got all of it there. It's just turning the corner mentally and becoming that true leader and feeling completely comfortable and taking ownership of the team. And now he's done that. So all of that preparation and turning the corner mentally is going to show on the field. Is it going to happen week 1? I hope so, because that would be such a breath of fresh air to sit back and be like, that's our quarterback this year. Like, he's going to be a dog, and this is a really big game week 1, but he's comfortable. He's confident. He's making the right throws, the right decisions. He's breaking off runs. Like, we've got a dude this year. So I really think that's one of the main pieces that we talk about everything else under the sun, but our returning quarterback is pretty good too. It's not just Jordan Travis in this game. Jaden Daniels is a pretty damn good quarterback. Go ahead.
I was just say one thing leading into this game, that, like last year, we had the distraction of, I feel like, Kayshon Boutte's hype, the fake hype around him. And then so during the game, it was that false hype of like, well, now what do? We don't have a receiver out there. So, our quarterback's running for his life. And I just remember, early on last season, it was just chaotic thinking about the offense. Mm-hmm. Whereas it is the exact opposite. We have an O-line, we have a quarterback, we have a receiving core, we have tight ends,
we have a return specialist,
and we have running backs out the wazoo. Like, we have 2 prominent running backs down, but it's like, and we have 6 more.
I mean, yeah, I'm not sure Emory was going to get any significant run in this game to begin with. So,
but he's veteran,
No, for sure. To see that, I was like, well, that sucks. Next thing. What's next?
It's like, okay.
We're going to be okay.
Oh, I think we've kind of been preparing for this. There's a reason why he's not just slated the number 1 back, and it's not just because of his lack of performance. It's because we knew we're not giving this kid all these reps, knowing that he might not even play because of eligibility. And we've got a boatload of other players with experience ready to roll, give them the reps. So I agree. I do think that we may have seen, if he was eligible and ready to roll from the get-go, we may have seen a little bit more of an emphasis of getting Emory involved. But I think this could go on for a few weeks and not just Florida State. So
the Noah Cain show, is that what we're expecting?
Well, I think it's Williams should be good to go. You got Josh Williams, Logan Diggs.
But at the same time, and look, I'm sure he's doing some stuff, but it's like every time any person in media, they're like, yeah, Josh Williams wasn't doing anything. So, like, I don't know. I feel like the guy who's been getting the practice reps are probably I don't know. Look, I love Williams. I think Williams is one of those guys who's like never going to get the recognition he deserves, but does everything you ask of him. But like, I don't know, in this week 1 game, without him being the workhorse in spring and being the leader, which he could still be the leader, but getting the first reps every time they do drills, like I just don't know that I see that.
You're absolutely going to get a majority dose of Noah Cain. I agree. I think Noah Cain is going to be probably our with the most carries at the end of the day. But you're going to see Josh Williams. You're going to see
Jaden Daniels included in that.
No, Jaden Daniels is going to run away with it. But Noah Cain, Logan Diggs, and Josh Williams are going to be your main backs. Now, this brings me to the other point is there's a couple areas that need to be difference makers. Jaden Daniels needs to be the dude this year, and he needs to show up on Sunday. I think, secondly, staying on offense, you have to be able to run the football. And I know it's very cliche and it's the most generic thing. Make sure that we get pressure on the quarterback and run the football, and you can win the game. But this is a veteran offensive line now. I know they're young, but that's veteran when it comes to snaps and experience, and the growth that they had to engage in and overcome to be who they are. We have now lost Grant.
That's okay.
We're dropping like flies left and right. Our pets' heads are falling, but we need to be able to establish.
How do you know I have gas?
And we've got backs to do it. And we've got the O-line to do it. And we have the scheme and the threat of a running quarterback to pull it off as well. So I think you're going to see a much improved running game. Are they going to run away with it? Are they going to be, a Darius Geis out there or Leonard Fournette's out there? No. But you're going to see holes open up. You're going to see chunk yardage. I mean, we averaged from the running backs, not Jaden Daniels, but the running backs last year against Florida State, 3 yards a carry. You're going to see that improve. You have to. I think if that running game improves and we're able to establish that authority at the line of scrimmage, the other side of the football is the last keys to victory. And that's Harold Perkins being who Harold Perkins is. I think this is going to be a breakout game for all the people that don't know who Harold Perkins is. Like, I don't know how you couldn't, but it's one of those games where you come in and you're like, yeah, I've been reading in the magazines. They had some kid that turned it on at the end of last season. He's going to be a sophomore, number 4. And you're going to know who he is right off the bat. This is not going to be a Will Anderson senior year type of deal from Bama, where he's up for the Heisman, all this hype, and he's really overrated and kind of gets run around his whole senior year. I think Harold Perkins answers the bell, and he is the hype man, and he delivers on containing Jordan Travis. If not, Greg Brooks has to step up. And I think those are your 2 main components on defense. Can Greg Brooks make a statement and Harold Perkins be a dude?
I've been trying to not think about it for months now because I knew that there was no point. But like now that we're getting here, I'm so excited to watch what Harold Perkins is going to be doing. I think back to when Matt House got hired and, they asked Tyrann Mathieu about it. And he said a quote somewhere along the lines of he was the reason for 6 of my 7 picks or 3 of my 4, however many it was. And just thinking about all we got to see last year was Harold Perkins play QB spy or just sit there on the edge and just beat the guy and get around to the quarterback. And to be able to see him, Grant had a storm in northern Italy, so he was going to try to get back with us. But to just watch what Harold Perkins is going to be able to do as a linebacker, and not just like, hey man, go get the ball, or like don't let Bryce Young run. And just be able to see what you can scheme up with a guy like that is so interesting to me to watch. And it's kind of what I was going to say about the offense is like, I'm really, really interested to see how comfortable the offense is. Are we willing to do a little zone read, flip the ball out to Mason Taylor for yards? Are we willing to get Anderson on some pop passes or some screens? Like, or are we just going to kind of run our route tree, do our basic things? Like, how comfortable is Jaden Daniels really going to be? And I think we're going to see it early. I just going into that game, it felt like, vanilla, like, oh shit, Jaden Daniels, if it's one read and it's not open, you got to take off. And that's just not, I just don't see that as the case. I think Florida State's got a really good line. I think Daniels is going to have to get around, and, I don't think it's going to be an iron wall up there, but they're going to handle their own better than they did last year.
And they have a huge challenge. Don't make any mistake about it. I mean, Verse is definitely a first round draft pick. I mean, some people have him in the top 10. This is a very, very good defensive line led by a defensive end that's extremely talented. That obviously got the best of a true freshman that should have been in high school months prior, and Will Campbell. But with that being said, having this new test right out of the gates for this offensive line, I think building their confidence is key, and letting them feel as if you are superior. Like in our heads right now, as good as the hype is right now, and the top draft pick and Jared Verse coming back, like I'm still confident for whatever reason that Will Campbell's going to beat his ass this year.
Yeah.
Like I'm confident in that, right? Maybe giving him number 7 this week was like that extra little bit of like, you're the fucking man, dude. Like you are the best player on this team, and we need you to beat the shit out of Jared Verse. And if you can do that, we're gonna move the ball up and down the field all fucking night, right? And so I think that's a big battle right there.
Yeah, it sucked last year losing that game, but it helps LSU going into this game. If LSU would have snuck out with a victory, in the back of the player's mind, all they would say is, yeah, it's a big competition, but it'd be like, we played awful and beat these guys. Like, we're going to be fine. But now there's that chip on your shoulder every day working out, knowing that that's the first game. And it's obvious, listening to player interviews and stuff. Speaking of, I don't know that I've ever seen so many like Florida State fans in random player interviews being like, y'all going to go down. It was very funny to see. But it's like, I think that helps. The chip on your shoulder going into week 1, knowing that this team beat you and embarrassed you and made you look stupid. And now all eyes in the world are going to be watching that game. There's nothing else to do on Sunday night. You don't have work in the morning. And it's just like, let's hang out and watch this football game. College football's back. This is a top 10 matchup. This is a playoff game, week 1. And it's like, go show something. Go shut up the people who say that LSU's overrated and they don't have a shot. Like, it's fun.
It's there for the taking. This is what
college football is. This is what it's about.
Yeah, I love it. I do, regrettably, I am in the boat of like, damn, I wish we can kind of like warm into this, but it's 100%. Fun. It's fun for us. Like,
we need the Texas method. Let's do week 2s. Speaking of, is it the biggest game? Is this like the biggest legacy game in Nick Saban's career, week 2 against Texas?
It's the biggest legacy game for him this soon in a season. I think having the Texas game right out of the bat, right off of the kickstart of the season, with so much in the air with Alabama, even though the respect of Nick Saban is winning everyone over.
But so many more people, like, dude, listen to Pardon My Take today. Tom Fornelli's like, oh yeah, Texas is winning that game. Like, when in your life have you been like so confident that Nick Saban's going to go down to a team who hasn't won their conference championship in who knows how long in week 2? Like, if they lose this game, it's the decline. Like, it's like all hell breaks loose.
If Texas beats Alabama week 2, it's going to be tough to keep those.
Fucking Christ.
Are the Germans there? Dude. The Germans are bombing.
We got a fucking hurricane outside.
Send them 20 bill.
Let me just say this. We talked about the offensive line for a minute there, but if you're able to have Will Campbell one-on-one with Verse and not require a double team there, Fisk, Lovett, and Paxton, it's 3-on-4. We're going to be able to defend that defensive line. And you dare bring an extra rusher, right? And leave somebody open from that receiving crew, plus the tight end play from Mason Taylor, you're going to be able to move the ball. So I really think it's dependent on Will Campbell there. Now, Grant Frank. Yeah. He's good, man. Erection's good. Erection is good. For those that are not listening, or for those that are watching, you got that joke.
I had someone ask me, I told them my name. She's like, your name's Fran? I was like, no, Grant. Fran? She's like, Fran would have been nice, though. It would have been interesting. I was like, yeah, Fran.
Yeah, there's a lot of Frans up there. So what I think it's to be said, and we need to mention this, is Florida State is very very head over heels for their transfer, Keon Coleman from Michigan State, who, by the way, is from Opelousas, Louisiana. He was not in the top 10 recruiting rankings out of the state of Louisiana. I think he was just tinkering on the outside of it that season. Kind of surprised me when I looked into that. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot this kid's from Opelousas. Now, he's good, right? And I think if he was on LSU's team, it would have been similar to like a DJ Chark situation, or I don't know, some of those guys that come from the state that you're just like, yeah, they weren't the top 5 players, but they ended up being a dog for us, or Jeray Jenkins, whatever. I think you take one of those guys and put them on Michigan State's team. They're probably one of the better players too. And then the hype being, transferring back down south to Florida State, I think it enhances that. So am I saying Keon Coleman's overrated? No. But for people claiming that Keon Coleman is the difference in this game, and that the fact that he's on this team now, they're going to win a national championship, that's another one where I'm just like, man, like you guys still don't get it. Like it takes a little bit more.
He's our Aaron Anderson.
Yeah, I guess we're hyping. I guess some Bama fans can look back and be like, Aaron didn't do anything for us. He was hurt.
Trey Palmer type guy. That's exactly what I was thinking, because I was going to say
Trey Palmer transfers to Nebraska. He's the best player.
Speaking of Nebraska transfer, shout out Eric Gilbert.
Yeah, man.
Vape up.
Thanks for setting me up, Fearless.
It's tough. It's tough. Feel bad for the kid, but I mean, don't be a criminal.
I wish this season. I wish we weren't playing Florida State in a season like this, because it would be
tarnishes
cool.
your family. I know it's a big
yeah. No, because I do feel like it would be a cool year to see them compete for the ACC, and maybe we see them in the playoff, which that could still happen whether we play them this week or not. But it's one of those years where it's like, damn, like I would rather play USC right now, week 1 or something like that. Would be
up
fun.
for Jaden Daniels against that defense. Like, I don't need to see anything else the rest of the year. I'm going to take that week 1. Alex Grinch is the same Grinch we've known and has hindered Lincoln Riley for years. I don't.
We can talk about that. Maybe we can go into that in a little bit about what we saw in week 0. I don't know if you already did while I was dealing with the power outage.
I don't believe in week 0.
Okay.
I wanted to mention they also are rotating in Destin Hill, wide receiver from Carr, played with Aaron Anderson at Carr.
Yeah.
Anybody, if they're a fan of the Hulu series that they starred in, pretty good show. Not as entertaining as Bishop Sycamore High School documentary on HBO. Wild. Yeah,
I'm only like 30 minutes in, and it's been laughable to say the least.
How this man is not in prison, I do not understand. I don't get it. And then I get on Twitter today, and there he is being interviewed by Chris Klimmer from Barstool. So it's crazy. But I want to mention they also have Greedy Vance too, another New Orleans defensive back. So pretty deep.
Always wanted that name on my team.
Yeah, Vance was a cool name there. But some New Orleans guys, an Opelousas kid. Obviously, you're going to see some homegrown talent from the state against us this Sunday, and that's always tough to see. But at the same time, good for them. Florida State is not a great program right now. They're obviously on the way up, and so it's good to see those kids get a shot. But Grant, to your point, it is one of those years where you pull for an underdog, right? And that underdog right now is Florida State, and you can see that they have a path and they have a talented team. It just so happens that they're in our way of a national championship as well, because number 5, quote unquote, LSU knocks off a top 10 Florida State team with all this hype. I mean, you're automatically vaulted to probably like 3, right? And then the rest of your season is really just bouncing around the top 5 there and making sure that you're a win away from number 1. Right. Well, if you lose this game, you're on the outside looking in already.
Yeah, you have to hope, obviously, if you're LSU and you win, that Florida State ends up looking good. But it's like that's what gives you the benefit of the doubt. When everyone's got one loss and the committee's talking, it's like, well, Michigan played who at the fucking whatever Indiana. Random teams. Yeah, like their shit schedule. And you're like, or LSU went to Orlando and beat Florida State. Like, sure, that was months ago, but that has to weigh something.
In last year, we proved that it almost didn't matter. I mean, right. We lose that game, and then we get blown out by Tennessee, and we're like, damn, like, well, it was a fun ride, boys. And then all of a
Yeah, but
sudden we beat
Bama
Bama.
losing,
We
right.
beat Bama, and we're like, oh fuck! Like we can be in the playoff if we beat Georgia some
If
kind
some
of way.
shit happens, right? But and like what Brett's point
There
is,
was a
though,
scenario.
right? But that scenario is like completely in our favor if you can get past Florida State. Like if you get past Florida State, you can afford a tough SEC loss.
With this, with this year's season of out of conference matchups. I mean, this is one of the biggest of the year besides Bama, Texas, I would imagine. And I would argue that ours could potentially, mean more at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Ours.
You saw those canoers paddle the entire Mississippi, put it all online. I know it's been done a million times, but it was a cool YouTube series.
I saw them doing that in Florida this morning.
You mean Italy?
The storm surge.
Is that you?
No, in the storm surge.
Where are you?
No, I didn't see them. This was I saw them. Where I'm in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, right next to Paris. On the other side of the Pacific.
So, Brett, what are some of your keys to victory here? I know I kind of splooged over a bunch of keys there. Greg Brooks, I think, is going to have a breakout season. I know he already kind of is a name for us, but I think he's going to be a dynamic playmaker for us, and it needs to show up week one. Harold Perkins, obviously, Jaden Daniels, and Will Campbell. What about you?
I mean, the easy thing to do is to talk about the corners, but it's absolutely true. Like someone, and I don't know, he could end up being Denver Harris by the end of the game, but like someone's going to have to step up and be able to make some plays. I think Florida State wide receivers are going to be able to make plays. Like they're really good. They got great size, and it's probably going to end up being one of those overreactions. Like, well, LSU may have more problems than we even thought at corner, and it will end up, working itself out. Like I really do think as long as everyone stays healthy, we have just enough guys at that spot to be able to succeed, play well. But it's like we can't just be getting torched all night. And I think Greg Brooks kind of mentioned in his press conference yesterday or 2 days ago about like communication. And so like I think that's huge, which goes into Greg Brooks. He's going to be that kind of quarterback out there. You got to have someone on the line step up. I don't care. You can say Mekhi Wingo doesn't need to. He's an All-American. Like somebody is going to have to fill the void. Right. Like, I don't care if it's Guillory, Jefferson, like one of those guys is going to have to play above serviceable to do what the defense wants to do. And I think Jaden Daniels just has to be a elite quarterback. Don't be scared. Rip it.
Gotta get stops.
I want to talk about what Huge Erection put in the chat here. Is anyone else worried we get Arkansas or Auburn, Jaden Daniels, where he throws for 85 yards? I want to touch on the Arkansas piece in particular.
He had the flu.
This is the frustrating part about Jaden Daniels, is that last season he was still the type of quarterback that, like, hey, if it's 11 o'clock and it's cold, like this dude might suck.
Well,
like
and
it's just
like
something as simple as that.
One of the first plays, didn't he like try to not throw a ball and just like dropped it for a fumble, and then he was like shook the rest of the game? It's like is there a possibility that happens? Sure. I mean, I think if that happens, Jaden Daniels also probably runs for 100 and some odd yards, or fuck it, put the nuss bus in and let's see what happens. But no, I don't. I really think I think Jaden Daniels is so comfortable as the LSU quarterback in Mike Denbrock's system with guys like Malik Neighbors that I really think that his floor is going to be, I think his floor and his ceiling are going to be way higher this year.
I think you're more likely to get the Jaden Daniels versus Bama, the Jaden Daniels versus Florida State. Go back and watch the game against Florida State. He was the only one doing anything. Yep. Right. And all the balls that were dropped were perfectly placed footballs. With that being said, he did have some off games. Most of those off games, and I know this is a stupid excuse, but we're like early and in the day, and were games that the spotlight truly wasn't all over LSU. They were kind of like, hey, we're here and let's just get to the next week. Like, I'm hoping that mentality is gone and that every week he can shine. But like in particular, week one, Sunday night on ABC on a neutral location against Florida State. Like
Beats by Dre.
there's no brighter lights for the next month and a half to 2 months that he's going to be involved in. So I think Jaden Daniels is going to be fine.
Also, I think as a collective, we all need to understand that if you beat Bama in overtime, rush the field, and play like shit the next week in freezing cold weather, you get a pass.
Mm-hmm. I like what the guy just said in the chat is this reminds me of 2019 Texas. And I think anything that like reminds anyone of 2019, it's far-fetched, but what I'm getting from that comment is like that's what the game, in my opinion, is going to look like.
The lead up or
the actual game itself was kind of tight, right? Like I know we pulled away, we had some big touchdowns, but like there was a moment there before.
So you think there's a 3rd and 17?
Hold on. There was a moment there with Jefferson's iconic 3rd and 17. Where that really kick-started our season, where it was just like, this is who we are, but we can't just create who we are anytime. Like it has to start now, and started at some point in that game. LSU is going to have to do that against Florida State. And I think Florida State is as equally going to try to define their season against LSU and create one of those moments and pull away. Who's going to be able to do it? LSU 2019 was able to do it against Texas and completely shut them up for that season. Can LSU do that again this game in a battle? And I think they will. But I like the analogy there of that it could be a similar type of game.
No, I agree. It's going to have one of those feels where you know, probably on both sides, but it's going to be close. You're like, man, we're really giving this game up. We should be able to win this. And it's like, it's really easy to think about 3rd and 17 and be amped, but like rewind your brain just another 2 minutes and LSU has the ball up 6 and we know we were not going to be able to stop Texas. And it's like thinking about punting that ball and where the season could go if that happens. Like there was some, and we didn't know. We saw us play against a shitty team week 1 and we were like, oh my God, we're back. We have an offense. But like we didn't know that this team was going to be the greatest team assembled with 1st-round draft picks all over. And they found a way to get it done. And I think there's going to be a moment like that in this Florida State game where maybe neither team can score or neither team can stop the other one from scoring. It's like somebody has to make a play. And it's like, you know, purple and gold glasses. I think LSU has the dudes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think special teams was such a hindrance on LSU all season, not just the Florida State game, but the entire season. I love the image of McConaughey here. Do you have the GIF? Actually, don't try it. That'll shut us down. But that's a good picture there. Having Aaron Anderson at punt returner is such a calming thought now to know. Like I know I have yet to see him field a punt for a college. Obviously at Carr, he was a phenom. But so was Malik Neighbors, right?
Yeah.
And Malik Neighbors was head rattled, right? I think the mental capacity and the confidence to field that punt, I think Aaron Anderson has that down. And I think, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I almost feel like he's got, and look, there's not much to do other than watch some stuff at Carr, and then you get the like, well, Bama wide receiver, but he has that feel to me of he's not going to be a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. It's like, I don't fair catch. I'm not fair catching. Zero fear back there, and I think we're going to get that of a guy, a hunter's mentality back there instead of like, let's just try to get a few yards, make a guy miss. Like every punt that's in the air, he's going to want to try to take to the house.
Even off the bounce, right? The ball bounces 10 yards in front of me. I'm closing in and I'm taking this, depending on who's in front of me. I've got eyes on the back of my head. And I think Aaron Anderson's that type of athlete. So that is an upgrade, obviously. And I think one of the other mysteries here that we need to find out very soon, speaking of special teams, is how dominant is Damian Ramos. Right? Is Ramos going to be a guy that you can hike out there and have like a Cole Tracy type of, or a Cade York type of feel of like, hey, we're good, right? Like we have a kicker that, if we're within range, like it's 3 points, right? And we're not going to get anything blocked. We have a stellar offensive line. Like, can we be that confident with our field goals, right?
And
And so,
but that opens up so much of what you can let Jaden Daniels do on a 3rd
yeah,
and 10 on the 30. And it's like, hey, let's take a shot because we trust our guy to make a 47-yarder or 45-yarder. And, it kind of reminded me of, and I'll probably butcher the exact quote, but in Brian Kelly's press conference, someone asked him about Jaden pushing the ball. And he said, every 7-on-7, all these drills and stuff, we made it a point to tell Jaden to like treat this like it's a 4th and 10. Like there's no point in throwing the ball away and checking it down. Like let's go for the kill shot. And I think having that mentality, like you said, having a kicker that you can trust the majority of the time, put it through the uprights and get you a positive possession allows you to maybe turn some of those 3rd and 12s, in that weird zone. It's like, let's just throw it up to Brian Thomas and see what happens. Or let's run the annexation of Puerto Rico for Malik Neighbors to throw. Like do something. I think I'm just interested, man. I just go back to watching what Cincinnati did under Den Brock when they made that run, and they just it was a little like unorthodox the way they ran their offense, and that just showed like how comfortable they were and what they were doing. And it's like, yeah, they didn't have the greatest competition, whatever. But it's like that's what I'm so interested to see is like that type of stuff.
I'm going to touch on that in 1 second. I want to answer this question from Boom Top. I know it's boring, but what about punt coverage? Florida State averaged over 20 plus yards per return last year against LSU. Listen, I don't think everyone truly understands how depleted this roster was last year and how many walk-ons were all over special teams and poorly coached to that fact. Would you rather Aristotle Abraham and Eugene Goldstein or Javian Toviano and Whit Weeks, right? Like that is kind of like what you're looking like this season. The personnel.
Give me Abraham Aristotle every fucking day of the week.
What about Eugene Goldstein?
Yeah, Goldstein. Duh.
But the personnel alone is going to be better. And you're going to have starters also on this team. The emphasis on special teams is much greater. Does that mean we stop Florida State? I don't know. But on paper, objectively, personnel-wise, they're already vastly improved.
Yeah. For us to sit here and say, oh, we're going to be great in punt coverage is like disingenuous. We don't know. But like you said, I feel confident that we're going to have a little bit better athlete out there. And, everyone's talked about Diaco being like the crazy dude. Like everybody loves him. It's like, trust the process, man. This isn't Les Miles era where we don't really know who we're hiring. We're going to have to talk ourselves into someone. Like we got a good guy running the show and deciding things. Like trust the process, man. I got a DM a couple nights ago or last night about a dude drunk at 10 o'clock worried about if Brian Kelly's going to be able to recruit well enough. And it's like, guys, it will take care of itself. Like this dude's already shown that he can close on guys like Perkins and Zalance Hurd, and he's in on recruiting. The big knock on him at Notre Dame was he didn't care about recruiting. Like that hasn't happened. We haven't seen that.
And as you're listening to this, it's probably Thursday, or you may have waited till Friday. And you're hearing the news of Dominic McKinley, the 5-star Acadiana star defensive tackle,
Rams,
going to Texas, which he's going to be announcing on Friday. I believe, obviously, there's outside of Dominic McKinley and Wardell Mack, who unfortunately are the top 2 ranked players. The rest of the top 10 is all committed to LSU. Now, hold on.
This is the word on.
Hold on. Having a problem.
finish.
Let me finish, damn it. I'm thrown off. But I'm going to get back on track, and you're going to wait until I get back on track is what's going to happen here.
Mute his ass.
Having Lindsey in and out, having Jamar Kane in and out, having whoever the hell the Dolphins player or the Jets player we had that was a defensive line coach for a season, not having consistency as a defensive line coach is going to cause ripple effects in recruiting with these younger players who don't have a connection. Obviously, you're going to be battling A&M and you're going to be battling Texas, and you need your strongest footing to make that impression early. I would not panic about McKinley committing to Texas on Friday. We still have until December. if we have a season like I think we're about to have, it does not matter where these kids are committed or what type of recruiter Brian Kelly is. You're going to, if you are a playoff football team, you are able to recruit this day and age, and we will be perfectly fine.
And, just to kind of go on top of that, it's like, yeah, oh my goodness, Grant is under
We
attack.
lost him. We lost him.
He's under attack. Someone clip
I should have let him talk, man. I should have let him talk. I feel bad. We lost him.
But
I
it's
regret it.
like, also we live in a new age. I completely agree. It's like whenever you have the coaching situation that LSU's had on the D line for the last 3 years or 2 years, it's going to be hard to do. But also, not saying this guy in particular, but it's also in a year or two, this dude could be in the transfer portal, and it's like, well, hey man, we have the foundation. Like, we're doing what we told you we were going to do. Come on home. Like, that stuff's going to happen a lot more, where it does suck to miss out on these guys. But maybe in a year, and I could be getting his name wrong, but maybe in a year, we're all of a sudden sweeping up Jordan Matthews from Texas A&M, and it's like, well, I'm coming home. It's like that shit's going to pop up, especially if LSU is going to do kind of what we think they're going to do.
Yeah, and the transfer portal, like you talked about, like you just mentioned, is going to be popping, right? People are going to want to come in here and play. So we're going to be fine if we can take care of business. I like what we did in the portal with adding depth, like Jordan Jefferson at defensive tackle. Now, the last thing I'm going to say about special teams, I love that they're giving a chance to Caleb Jackson to be out there at kick return with Aaron Anderson. If you just look at those two that are listed at kick return, that gives me images of the past, images of the most dominant top Louisiana just studs coming to LSU and immediately making impacts on special teams by getting the ball in their hands in some way, and then allowing a true freshman, hey, you might be backed up a lot on the running back room, but you're going to be our main kick returner here, right? Obviously, Aaron Anderson's the guy with the ball, but you're going to get a shot, right? And Aaron Anderson, a dude from Carr, rewarding him, not immediately overtaking a starting role at wide receiver from day one. The kid will be all over the field. He's going to be in the game. But we're giving you punt and we're giving you kick return. We're going to put the ball in your hands in some form or fashion. So that's exciting to see.
Go ahead. I'm not sold. I was going to say I'm not sold on Anderson taking the first snap, but I think he's going to be on the field the first time LSU has the ball, like the possession.
That's a good bet. That's a good little gamble there to try.
I'm interested to see. I'm very interested to see if it's like really what they said. Like, we got to figure out how to get this dude the ball, or it's like, oh yeah, we'll give him like 4 touches in this game. It's fine.
No, I think he's there, and he may be there without a running back in the game, and he may be in the backfield. We might be doing some sweeps. We might be we're going to try to get him, and Malik Neighbors are going to be showcased in this offense in unique ways. And I think I'm confident that Denbrock in year 2 is going to be able to your point, create those type of designs and get creative because he trusts his quarterback now. He trusts his offensive line. He is truly set into his OC role. He's not a quarterback coach. He's not doing anything extra. He's truly developing and leveling up this offense to the next degree. This is a continuation. This is not a reset. We're building upon what we did last season. So adding those type of playmakers, you're going to see new plays for them. Now, I want to say this. I redid my LSU Gold subscription. And so I've got it for the season. I will give you the credentials. I'll give Grant the credentials. And if you donate in a raffle that we're going to put out, it'll be a $10 raffle. We will choose a name and I'll give you my credentials. But one of the takeaways that I saw there, which was pretty cool, they don't have a lot of videos, but it was just like a recap of camp leading up to, I guess, last week. There's nothing really new other than camp footage, but the camp footage is the best camp footage that you've seen to this point. It's not just random warm-up clips. It's like actual 11 on 11 from the weeks. A couple takeaways there. One, Hilton looks really good. 17 looks really good. And Mike Denbrock is extremely vocal. He is, we've never really seen a lot of access before, But I feel like now, like Joe Sloan is like completely in charge of the quarterbacks, and he's not like hyping. Like there was no time where Denbrock's like teaching any technique. It's just like tempo, get on the fucking football. He's cursing, he's yelling at people for like doing, stepping the wrong way. You're supposed to go this route. Let's do it. Like he was so in charge of the flow and the rhythm of like the play calling. It gave me a lot of confidence of like, okay, Denbrock's fucking bought in. He's not just like Bo Pelini and us right now and just chilling and like hopefully Daniels can figure it out. Like he's invested.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just really excited for the season. I'm really excited to to see the team LSU is going to put on the field. Like I legitimately think they are a top 5 team, and it's like time to prove it now. It's like camp's over. We're on to week 1.
Grant, you were gonna say something before you got off. I'm sorry.
Fucking dude, this storm is dude, this place is crazy right now.
Well, we're glad you're okay.
We got tequila getting delivered. We got fireworks and lightning outside.
What were you
I was
going to
ask. I was simply going to say the kid from Acadiana. Why do we know he's going to commit to Texas? Did Shay text you that?
Or A&M or Ohio State? The point
not
is
us.
LSU doesn't look good right now.
Why?
Go back and listen to the pod where you missed it. We covered it all.
I don't know why. They got some ground to make up. Who knows, dude? Like I think it comes down to the situation at the defensive line. I think our D-line coach has been in and out. We've had multiple different guys. I think he's not one of those dudes that's just like head over heels in love with LSU. And I'm sure the NIL game is being played if you look at the contenders for the kid. Right. And I think it's a wait and see approach. I think it is essentially I'm going to Texas or wherever. And, LSU is going to continue to pursue through December, and we'll see what we can do.
Jesus Christ, shout
out Dre in the chat. I don't know if we can put that one up on the screen.
Well, we don't have any sponsors anymore, but yeah, I don't think we should.
No, I don't think we can, but we appreciate that. You're right.
I think it is. Off of that, I think it is the perfect time. I forgot. I was going to let you guys know a little in on the circle of trust. So playing outside with the dog, I bought her this like giant herding ball, right? It's like a egg, but it's almost shaped like a football on one side.
Well, she is a sheepdog, right?
Yeah, she's a herding dog. So it's like I get out in the backyard. I'm so amped about football. I'm like, this thing's kind of like a football. Let me get a few throws in here. So I'm dropping back with this thing, just throwing darts, like looking like Chris Leak spirals out there. And I don't know what came over me. I hope Chris is listening out there. He'll get a kick out of this. But I saw it and I was like, this is like the perfect shape to like work on some long snapping here. So I get down and just try to rip one through my legs, and I hit my shin with my arm so hard that I had to go sit down for like 10 minutes.
From your shin or your arm?
Like
hurt?
When I threw it, like both, dude. I didn't know which one hurt worse. Like I was like, I might have a broken bone in my leg. And I just like sat there on the ground for like 10 minutes, and it gave me a great laugh of like if I was in a sling for the podcast. Oh, how'd you hurt yourself practicing my long snapping?
Dude, there's nothing. It's funny you mentioned sling. I was at a high school football game last Friday. I went to I was in East Texas visiting some family. So I went to the Gilmer Buckeyes game against Chapel Hill. And there is nothing more exciting for a kid than to wear a sling or like to have an injury, dude. And like
the scooter,
they can't sit still. It's like everyone in the stadium is going to know that I've got a fucking cast on my arm, right?
I cannot tell you how devastated I am that the little knee scooter didn't come out until we were like in college, because I would have been slinging the halls.
Dude,
and man,
we all would have been. We all would have
been.
There would have been races. They would dude, chicken finger day. That would have been a line of the handicaps. We would have just been like rolling in, dude. Someone put in here that Shay also doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground sometimes. Here is what the experts do know. They do know when we are not getting somebody. Like that's when they are usually correct.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just I don't know. There's
what about
no
Dre's
reason.
comment?
LSU don't have one good DB like you're accustomed to. You're getting
Obviously,
bullied for 4 quarters by 6'7" wide receivers. I thought Dre was on
You,
our side.
you know what?
obviously, Dre's not accustomed to watching Southland football because we
I'm
got
I'm going to applaud
Southeastern
Dre
star.
here for using the apostrophe and you are. That's impressive, honestly.
I think that's pretty standard.
I mean, everyone should know that. Look,
I mean,
man,
look at the
what am I
title of
gonna
our episode.
what am I gonna do? Like sit here and argue with you? It's like we're gonna see. Like we will see what happens. I think Florida State wide receivers are gonna make plays, but it's like I
That
don't know,
same
man.
6'7" wide receiver we played against last season with no good DBs that we're used to either. I mean, we had Mekhi Gardner and Jared Bernard Converse transfer in, from similar schools, right? We're getting Deuce Chestnut from Syracuse. We're getting Zy Alexander from Southeastern. Mekhi Gardner was at UL Lafayette.
Yeah, I mean,
Jared Bernard Converse was a kid from Oklahoma State. Like, we're not sitting here saying we're freaking confident about our DBs locking up any wide receiver, but there is nobody that is more talented on that roster than what we didn't see last season at wide receiver. And it's essentially the same team. I know you're adding Keon Coleman, but Keon Coleman is not any better than half the receivers that we saw the rest of the season as well.
Johnny Wilson had 60 yards receiving, like not bad. But let's not forget if we're going to go there on DBs, you allowed Jeray Jenkins to lead LSU in receiving with 5 catches for 46 yards and 2 touchdowns over our bum ass receivers. You know what I mean? So these people are insane. Like, bring it on, Dre.
I thought Dre was on our team.
You must have misread his first.
You misread the first one then.
Yeah, I thought the first one was like giving us props, and we were like, "Let's go." No. Dre's okay. Well, Dre, we appreciate the comments.
Keep them coming. I like it. I love it. That's good receipts.
No, it is good receipts.
See you in the post game show.
Yeah, 6'7" wide receivers. I think their one wide receiver is 6'7".
Yeah, Johnny Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, we played against Johnny Wilson. He's a bum.
Is it cool to have a really tall receiver? Yes. Name me the 6'6" wide receiver that's won a national championship in college since Travis Benjamin.
Florida State is so used to having like these little guys that suck who run around all day, and looking at LSU and seeing the talent we pour in and out, that like the minute they get a 6'7" guy, all of a sudden it's like nobody can cover this guy because they play teams like Pitt and I don't know, Duke, NC State. Like, yeah, sure, I bet they do well against them. But are we sitting here beating our chest about our DBs? No, your quarterback's not going to have time to let a 6'7" wide receiver run one-on-one with Zy Alexander down the field to make a play without having safety coverage as well. So like,
every time that wide receiver is on the field, he will not be the best athlete on that field. That person will be Harold Perkins.
Yeah, if this dude knew anything about his team, he'd be pumping up guys like Destin Hill possibly, or the tight end Jaheim Bell. I'm not worried about the Wilsons. I'm not even worried about Coleman, to be honest with you.
What's their running back situation? I mean, I don't think we ever really touched on that, which is an important piece of the
Trey Benson. I think he had like 10 yards against us last season, something like that.
15.
But, 15.
But what did he do? He had 900 yards. He had 990 last year, so he was their guy last year.
Right, yeah, but what did he do against us?
He didn't do anything.
I feel like last year they played a bunch of different guys in that first game, and then maybe the Benson dude took over a little bit more.
Benson's a returning starter. He's a good back, but like, again, we've seen him. We know what he is. Like, it's not like they got Trent Richardson that they're touting back there. Or
if Florida State runs it down LSU's throat, we got bigger problems.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. What else? Is Dre coming back in this bitch? Let's go, Dre.
I don't know. Apparently we acted like Travis.
Bro acting like Travis can't escape pressure. No, bro's acting like you've never seen Harold Perkins.
Yeah. Ask the Arkansas track star quarterback how fast Harold Perkins is.
I think I know who Dre is. I know who he is.
It's an inside job, huh?
Let's not get into docs.
We don't dox our listeners.
I know exactly who it is. I know exactly who it is.
We're not doing docs. That's fine.
Wow.
That's fine. We'll deal with Dr. Dre next week. Dre, we invite you back next week. regardless of outcome.
To be in the chat, let's be clear. Just to
you're
be
not
in
on the show, but you can be in the chat. We welcome you. So we'll see what happens. No, Jordan Travis is a very good quarterback. I think he's.
I don't think we ever said he's not a good quarterback.
Looking at our schedule, I think he's probably the best quarterback that we know about to this point. That's
For
on
sure.
our schedule.
That's
So,
an accurate statement.
known quantity, 100%.
Yeah,
and he did it against us last year. Like he was good against us last year.
For sure.
There's no disputing that either.
I want Florida State to be good. Like I like having a team like Florida State be back, and same thing with Texas and USC. Like it's kind of cool to see these teams back in the mix. It's just you didn't play an elite SEC team last year. You played a team that was just trying to get by and figure it out, and that's I think going to be different. Yeah, that's right. Ward was the other dude.
Yeah, Ward was the other guy, and then week 6, Trey Benson took over. I clearly don't know ball because I didn't know that week 6 Florida State replaced him with Trey Benson. You're right, dude. I do not know the depths of Florida State football, my man. Appreciate that. I'll be back when to clown you when you lose. It's okay.
Got him.
We love it, and we love the apostrophes, multiple usages. So we appreciate that, brother. We'll
Trey Benson from Greenville, Mississippi. We did know that, so I guess we do know all.
Hit that thumbs up button in the chat.
Yeah, hey Dre, please subscribe, like and subscribe the pod. Get all of your other friends to like and subscribe. Please share this episode with them. Get them on here. Get them interacting with us. Bring the facts. Tell us about what happened in week 6. Like we are dying to know. Educate us. Educate our sorry asses on what happened
explain an NC State loss,
to make Trey Benson your best player, and to make Johnny Wilson the best receiver in the nation. Let us know.
I honestly don't. I feel like I don't have much more on the game. Like, do you want to? I think you already did a score prediction.
30-24 LSU.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in that similar boat, but I'll go a little high. I'll say 35-31. Like, I think it's going to be a good game.
Let's talk about some other games coming up.
Betting lines.
Yeah, we get to see Florida against Utah Thursday night. Pretty exciting game. I'm really anxious to see the Billy Napier hype train go to Utah to face the Utes. I like Utah. I think they're a very tough physical team. But there is discussion about their quarterback not playing.
Yeah, Cam Rising's out.
That changes everything for me.
Oh, he's like, that's confirmed. I know it's kind of like we didn't know.
I mean, dude, I was kind of busy today, but I saw on Twitter they named the backup like the starter, and I saw something like, I don't know 1,000% that he's out, but I mean, I would assume if he was available, he would be starting.
The line is still 4.5.
Yeah, Cam Rising's. In my opinion, that was the difference. I mean, you've got like an 8th-year senior in Cam Rising.
Yeah, he's out.
Okay. I'm still taking Utah.
The line's still Utah 4.
Yeah, I'm a change. You know me, I'm a change man. So give me Florida in the points. I'm on Bayou Baby Billy.
Florida in the points.
Yep, I'm telling you, Mike.
The game isn't Salt Lake.
We're taking points. We're taking points. We're taking the grossest lines on the board that everyone hates. We might even throw some unders in there, but it's a new me.
Who is it Grant? Not Graham Mertz. Who's their quarterback?
Graham Mertz.
Is it Graham Mertz?
Yeah.
A lot of people are trying to hype up Graham Mertz, but like we know who Graham Mertz is. Like it's not as if like we don't know.
Right. I kind of agree. Like
no one asked your opinion on the score, Dre. We're not putting that on the screen. No one asked for your opinion on the score. Come back next week. We said goodbye. Come back next week. Like and subscribe. We appreciate the download.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's like a great kickoff to real week 1. Like I have said it before, I'll say it again. Week 0 is a scam. It's not real. Week 1 is when college football starts. And I think this is like a perfect kickoff game. I think maybe Nebraska's at the same starts right before, but I don't care about that.
I love Nebraska. You know that. I'm itching for the return of Nebraska football. Nebraska versus Minnesota, I believe.
Wait, what was your pick, Mike? Let's do some real picks. I'm going to keep it. What do you?
I have Utah.
You have
line.
Utah, right?
I don't like the points.
Money line. Okay. Well, okay. Well, I'll put that in there. We'll see.
Yeah.
So you get half a point. I would get a full point because I'm picking Utah the -4.
It's -4.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said 6.5. I'm sorry.
4.5.
-200's the money line.
Yeah, I just went Utah outright. That's fine.
I think this is
that's what I'm saying. The tally would be if you get the money line. We're just going to make up our own rules here. You get half of a point for winning that.
Dre,
and I'll just get a full
Dre, you're
point.
done.
Dre, cut it out, dude. Get out of the chat, Dre. Please leave the chat.
Like and subscribe on your way out.
No, she's keeping coming.
Dre, you're done.
The algorithms
Dre says, I don't care. I voiced it. Cry some more.
You realize this is the way to get him to keep posting in the chat, Grant. Like, we know what we're doing. We're professional podcasters over here. I think it's going to be a really good game. I would be rooting for Utah, but like I said, I had an epiphany. I woke up one night seeing plus signs, and I just said, it's time. It's time to make a change in my life.
So,
I get that.
So which one do y'all want next?
I'm trying to look.
Do Nebraska, Minnesota.
That game's 7.
Okay, I was going to go in time of the day, but we can do that one next. Where is that?
Nebraska +7.
Nebraska.
Oh, they're not. Neither of them are ranked. That's the problem.
This guy, man, he doesn't know how to work a sports book. Hate to see it. Absolutely hate.
No, I'm not in the.
Give me 10 minutes. I'll look it up. I'll get back in.
Well, I was going to go to TCU.
That's
Colorado.
Fine. That's fine.
The next one I had.
You go. Let's do you.
Right,
if you have it pulled up, let's do you.
Yeah.
But I'll take Nebraska +7.
Yeah, obviously +sign.
Indeed.
You don't like it though.
I mean, dude, I don't want to row the boat. Like, I don't know. It's like I don't think your boy Rule's going to come in and it's like an overnight thing. Like, they're going to have some growing pains. It's going to be to just think it's the same thing as we thought going into the Florida State game. It's like, oh, if we got a fucking coach now, like everything's fixed. Like, no, it still takes some time.
Dre, you're not going to Ben mince me, my friend. But shut up, bum. Florida State owns you all time, and it ain't changing no time soon.
Who cares?
Again,
not all time.
Again, all time. Like, I love the people that like hype up their 1990s victories.
Like, how old are you?
Yeah, get out of town. Get out of town, Dre.
We're paying players now on the up and up.
Dre, log off. Do not come back on this channel until next week after we whip your ass, and you can come back here and take it. And if we lose, we would love to have you in the chat. Yeah, we'll be here.
We'll give you a segment.
But log off.
Dre,
go ahead.
We'll come up with a catchy name. I'll get in ChatGPT and we'll come up with a good name.
Log out.
Forgot about Dre.
Yeah, we'll forget about Dre. We'll title that the episode. That's your calling card, Batman. Now get out. Log out.
All right, where do you want to go next? We got to get into.
Well, I did need to mention that Matt Rule runs a very disciplined program, and so no one laughed at that. No one.
Sorry, I was reading Dre. Dre's got me in the chat.
Dre,
because
I'm trying to get this.
How many national titles has LSU won since? I mean, it's like, come on, man, we got it.
No, we're good. Dre.
We're delusional.
We've gotten Dre as the commenter 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the last 5 comments. So
I love it.
We won. Bye, Dre.
You know it's week 1 when this is happening.
I love football.
Okay, wait, hold on. Minnesota, Nebraska. Who were your picks?
Nebraska +7. Now we're on.
Both of y'all have +7.
Okay. Now we're on to Colorado versus TCU.
Now, look, I said I was a changed man. I'm not a believer. Like, give me TCU.
It's 20. It's -20 is the line.
Damn.
It's a lot of points.
Yeah.
I want to take that plus sign, but I'm just
You're a plus guy. You had an epiphany.
I know, you got to prove it to me, though. I'm not a Deion Sanders believer, at least immediately.
It's actually 20.5.
Give me that hook.
Yeah,
they're baiting you. They want you to take it. You know what? Vegas wants you to take TCU. I'm switching. Give me Colorado. Give me the plus sign. I can't be going against my religion week 1. It's not allowed.
God, I mean, obviously TCU is going to beat Colorado, but I'm going to go with the plus. I'm going to go with the points here. That's too big.
Colorado?
Yeah. No, going with
No.
the points.
Yeah, Colorado plus the points.
It's Colorado. Oh, God damn. I'm thinking TCU. Yes.
Week one for everyone. It's
Yes.
week one for everyone, Mike.
Yes.
Dre's in your head. It's okay.
Dre's fucking with me, dude. Dre's got to get out of here.
Forget about Dre.
All right. I think we're all on Colorado plus the points. That's a lot of points.
I lost my spot in the sports book. Let's get into some Saturday games.
All right, so let's see here.
Dre, I don't use tissue boxes. I use dude wipes. This episode is presented by Dude Wipes. If you have an itchy ass, if you have those stains, if you're skeeting, if you're shooting,
if you're podcasting and shit your pants.
Yes, if it's a bad day, if it's a sad day,
get
Dude Wipes. Get Dude Wipes.
Use promo code Dre for 25% off your first order.
All right, now let's forget about him.
Everybody forget about Dre. Is that why you said that? Isn't that the line of the Eminem song?
It.
Anyway,
that's in a song by I think it's
I didn't even think about that.
I think it's a little Boosie song.
I didn't even think about that.
Next game.
All right, Washington, Boise State. What the hell? That's interesting.
Well, Michael Penis is just gonna dominate.
It's Washington minus 14
and a half
over Boise.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not picking that game. That's a
I don't know. Game. I just saw that. We don't have to pick. That is stupid. That's a trap game for everybody involved.
Can we talk about the real games?
Yeah, the real games. Hold on, we're getting there. There's so many terrible games. That's the problem. Besides ours,
North Carolina.
West Virginia is West Virginia, Penn State. Worthy.
Can we do North Carolina, South Carolina?
Yeah, that was the next. Yeah, it's UNC minus 2.5.
I'll take the points with South Carolina.
Yeah, off shtick. I couldn't love South Carolina more. Like, this is my favorite line on the board.
I am.
What is it? Minus. What did I just say? Minus.
You said 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah. I'm just stupid. I don't know. And so y'all are both taking the points there. The plus 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I would money line it, but I mean, South Carolina is going to win this game. It feels like a totally overhyped South Carolina after week 1. Like, oh, are they maybe the second best team in the East? Which is probably not going to be true. But I mean, this is a fun game. Like, this is a perfect week 1 North Carolina Drake May. You know, Mike's got his North Carolina tie, so I know he's pulling there a little bit. But
Tar Heels, baby. No, admittedly, I'm an irrational Drake May fan. I
better than Tua.
Yeah, absolutely better than Tua. So is Bo Nix, who's the sneaky Heisman dark horse.
Hey, that take is aging better by the day. I'll give you that.
It is. It's grown legs. But no, I do believe that Drake May is a really good quarterback. I have no idea who else is on that football team. And South Carolina is getting better. I like their coach. I think the quarterback is, obviously Spencer Rattler has a history. I think he's comfortable now. He could make some plays. It's going to be a close game. I don't think South Carolina is great by any stretch of the imagination, but I think Drake May is going to make plays as well. But I'll take the points.
I do not trust North Carolina's defense. I think Rattler and company, you got some returning. I love South Carolina, which probably means North Carolina would be the play.
North Carolina's playing super hard teams like Florida State. I mean,
I'm sure we went over this 2 weeks ago, but I was scrolling through FanDuel looking for lines. Tennessee, Florida's next week, week 2.
It's next week. Let me
September
check my calendar.
2:30. Yeah, Mike,
check my calendar.
Get on iCalendar and check it out. Week one kind of sucks this year, but at least we got our game to look forward to.
At least there's other games. I'm taking.
Are you sure?
I'm putting it on the record. I'm taking UNC. Taking UNC
on FanDuel. I'm looking at September 9th, 2:30, Tennessee at Florida. Not saying
it's on the 16th. I have it on the 16th in the
Texas A&M Miami is September 9th. The date's below. I thought the date was above. It's week 1 for everyone, okay?
It's week 1 for everyone. Next week is all about Texas, Alabama. There's no one competing with that stage.
6.5.
So right now we have 4 games picked. I want to add a 5th in here.
I would love Clemson Duke would be a fun one. What's that spread?
12.5.
Duke's actually supposed to be pretty good.
12.
It's Clemson. It's minus 13 on whatever book this is, but yeah, minus 13. Clemson. I was going to say the Tulane game. I was not expecting to see this. We're not going to watch this game, obviously, but Tulane, South Alabama. It's Tulane minus 6.5. Minus 6.5. That's trappy.
I'm not one of these Tulane guys, so that's pretty much on par.
Tulane won me a ton of money last year, so I'm kind of like on that.
Great,
thing.
but like the whole they're a playoff sneaky. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
South Alabama is a sneaky good program.
And you too, Dre.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
Okay, let's go Duke Clemson. Minus 13. That's a weird number there.
Even though I have them in the playoffs, I've got Duke with the points there. I think this is a closer game than we think.
Would you like to come to our meetings on Friday where we only talk about plus signs? Because sign me up, baby.
Yeah, this is a shitty week, but it is very much dominated by the points here, in my opinion, because it's kind of an unknown.
Except for Florida State, obviously.
Florida State minus what, 2.5? LSU?
They're plus 2.5. Yeah, right. LSU's 2.5.
Yeah, all day. All day.
So who are you going with?
Way.
Clemson,
both taking Duke.
Both taking Duke. Duke's
what do you think about
13.
the total? What do you think about the total for LSU? 55.5. Like, I know it's week 1 and like things can get a little weird, but like
I've got the score as 30. I've got the score of 30 to 24. If I deviate from that at all, I go under more points.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. It seems,
you know what I'm saying? So that's 54. I would think that over 55 is the safer pick than under.
It's more likely to go over your prediction than under. I feel you. I agree. I think, I don't know, that'd probably be my favorite total that I've seen. The South Carolina one seems a little sketchy. I don't want to touch that one. It was 62.5, maybe 64.
I can't pull up these websites. I live in Texas.
64.5 is the total in the South Carolina game.
Fuck, I'm in Mexico and I can pull these up.
64.
Well, there ain't no laws in Mexico.
You can also walk outside and get Coke off a stripper's ass.
There's a lot of real. Oh, I think you're talking about Coca-Cola. There's a lot of authentic Coca-Cola here.
I'm trying to scroll through. I mean, if any games that just like pique any sort of interest, and it's pretty bad. I mean, honestly, this is a sad, like, it's great to sit down and watch week 1 college football, but it is one of those weeks you're like, oh, we could do something for a window here. Like, we don't have to be glued to the TV. Yeah. Sunday night, like, go away, leave me alone. But
definitely.
There's nothing on this board. Oklahoma, Arkansas. Oh, Arkansas State. Never mind.
Hugh G says, have y'all ever heard Mike Norvell talk? No, we've heard him yell at reporters. No, he sounds like Rudy Rudiger.
I'm not going to say anything because, whatever. If they beat us, Mike Norvell's a good coach. But if not, like, we're going to start clowning this dude.
The fucker was about to get fired last year until they slipped up and beat us. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, Dre.
I don't know. Is there anything else on the list? I feel like I don't see any other games of note to talk about.
I think that's it. All right. Hour and a half.
It's been
LSU, fun. Week 1. Let's fucking get this party started. Share, like, subscribe, do the whole thing. This is when the show heats up. This is when shit gets going. Oh, by the way, Grant, I've got LSU Gold access for you and Brett. I'd like to keep up with that so we can.
It came with the Tacoma. Weirdly,
Tundra.
Wait, are you a student? Are you back in school enrolled at LSU? Because I heard students get it free now.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Wow. Hold up. One more topic. Do you have a topic for us?
Yeah, I mean,
or do you want us to create the topic?
Let's spit it to us, you big, huge
spitball
erection.
I mean,
How
we're giving
about
you.
Opro's hole in one? Anybody see that?
I missed it. The Twitter algorithm, it makes my feed the different.
been
I don't see the
fucked
things
up.
I used to.
Yeah, but then sometimes I just want to get in that aggressive mood, and I'll go to the For You, and I'll get involved in some fights and some
Oh yeah,
crazy
I'm
shit.
addicted. Look, everyone likes to make fun of the For You. Like it's the most addicting thing in the world because you don't know what's coming.
You don't
Like
know what's coming.
you're gonna get a funny Trump meme in there. Like you just
Oh,
know
yeah.
it's a roulette. I don't know what's going on with Jake Paul and Dylan Dennis, but it's all I see on my Twitter feed. Like it's just you never know what you're gonna get in the For You tab. You're gonna see someone get knocked out. Like that's the only thing you know for sure.
I see the girl that got kicked off the plane today a million times.
Yeah.
A recent interview.
Yeah,
She's-
she said she's doing a lot. She's doing a lot for charity. That's when I'm like, dude, what are you?
Nonprofits,
Who's paying you?
nonprofits. No,
Like,
we're
what are
gonna.
you talking about?
Yeah, someone was like, I'm sorry. I think it was Bunky Perkins. If you're not following Bunky, it's a good follow this time of year. He was like, I'm pretty sure she's a plant.
Oh yeah.
Where that plant is from, I think we can all imagine.
All right.
All right, so
If
we
Huge
don't have
Erection's
another
not going to give
topic.
us, if he's not going to give us another topic, we're going to end the show.
He must have had a lightning strike and lost power.
It happens to the best of us. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to watch the game.
Big sleepers tweeted this out today. Savion Jones and Jordan Jefferson. Jordan Jefferson. Go back and watch some of his West Virginia highlights.
Expect him to rush for what? 50, throw for
Triple option.
I can't wait to a 2:30 CBS game and it's not gonna be Vern. Gary's gonna be like Jordan Jefferson. Remember when?
Yeah.
It's just
I remember him against Alabama.
It's never gonna stop.
Jordan Jefferson
enjoy
was in
it.
his
Look,
mouth a lot.
Enjoy it while you can because it's just like with Vern. You will miss it when it's gone. Maybe not maybe not a lot. Oh, I miss those trumpets, those horns. Oh, boom,
Dude, wait. Here's one thing. I know Week 0 doesn't really exist, but this is something that
just end the stream right there.
Wait, this is something that happened, and you can cut it off. I don't care.
No,
this is something that happened is that the first down does not stop the clock anymore outside of 2 minutes, like the NFL. So, like the games are going to be shorter this year.
Apparently, granted, small sample size. Apparently, that was like 3 plays Week 0. It more added commercial breaks than.
What do you mean it was 3 plays?
Like it didn't significantly reduce the time.
It reduced the average plays per game by 3.
Really? Okay, I didn't see that.
Look, I'm a numbers
guy. I know. No, I know. So you're saying that the games, I know it's small sample size, but the games were still just as long.
It was it's like a 3-play difference, so pretty much the same thing. Which seems crazy. You would think it would be a bigger impact, but once again, if you see it on Twitter, it's facts.
Yeah, but that's true.
Ball every damn play.
But like NFL games aren't any shorter, so the only games that are long are CBS games. So.
We're just gonna pack a few extra commercial breaks in there. That's all it's really gonna do in the name of player safety.
Yeah.
All right. There was your one more topic.
Campaign season. I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of those.
Speaking of campaign topics.
All right, I think we're good to go.
All right.
So, subscribe, Dre, kiss ass, kick ass, kick rocks, kiss ass. I was trying to say kick rocks, and I said kiss ass.
Hey, you know what? Kiss ass.